Chapter 6. Mel.
It was right there. I saw it right there.
My brother Brian lives out near LeCount Hollow Beach in Wellfleet. I wasn't crazy about driving out there that time of night, but he insisted he had to show me where he saw his UFO. He thrust his arms out above his head as if a building were about to fall on him, then opened his fingers wide.
It went right over my head. It was huge.
I glanced up at the night sky. There's very little light pollution out there, so I could see the Milky Way, a faint mottled band across the sky. I tried to imagine his UFO. I said, "So what did it look like?" He paced back and forth in his front yard, passing in and out of the pool of light from the lantern on his porch.
I came out here to have a smoke, and then I saw it.
Every time he finished the thought, he would bite his thumbnail, then turn around and go back the way he came. I'd seen him agitated before, but this time I was concerned he might lose it completely.
It was a V shape. 2 rows of lights that formed a V. I mean, you should have seen the thing.
He wandered out of the light and continued pacing in the dark as he spoke.
Why did they come here? Can you believe it? Why were they looking for me?
My baby brother, Brian, who is 7 years younger than me, has an anxiety disorder. He likes living out here because it makes him feel safer, away from whatever perceived threat that's out to get him. We can thank our parents for giving us lousy genetics. But he seems to have gotten the worst of it, at least in terms of how well he handles it. I am much more objective about what's going on inside of my head, and I know the stupidity of stopping your meds when you feel better. From the look of him, he was off his meds again. "Come here," I said. "What are you doing out there in the dark?" I tried to assure him. "They're not looking for you."
How can you say that, Melissa? I don't want them to see me.
"But they're gone." I glanced up into the sky just to be sure. I immediately felt slightly foolish. I knew it was futile trying to argue with him when he was this paranoid. He came back into the light, pointed to the sky, and said,
Melissa, they were right there. You believe me when I say I saw them, right?
Yeah, of course. A couple of policemen also reported something." He bit his fingernail again and nodded his head. It fit in with what Officer Wright told me. Something did fly through here. The question was, what? My first thought wouldn't be flying saucers. He headed towards his front door.
Okay, let's go inside.
It was a tiny place, a cottage that was meant to be used during the summer months only, but he lived here year-round. I went inside and got further confirmation of his mental state. He's not the stereotypical hoarder with piles of trash everywhere. I didn't need a shovel to move around. He kept all his stuff filed away in cardboard boxes, each with a contents list attached to the side. His entire living room was surrounded by boxes, stacked 4 to 5 high, almost to the ceiling. It looked like he was living inside a storage locker. He followed a path between columns of boxes to his kitchen.
You want something to eat? I have chocolate-covered Twinkies.
I looked around for a place to sit that wasn't completely covered in boxes or magazines. "Sure," I said. At either end of the sofa were 2 boxes that doubled as end tables. Between them, a wall of cartons looked ready to buckle forward. The bottom one struggled to support the weight. I tested its stability with a little push to make sure nothing fell on me. I didn't want my last meal to be a Twinkie. I reluctantly sat down in a clear spot on the couch and called out towards the kitchen. "Listen, why don't you rent out a storage spot? Think of all the space you'd have." A crinkling sound from the kitchen stopped, and there was a moment of silence.
I don't wanna,
he said. The crinkling resumed. "They're not that expensive." He came back holding a plate of 2 unwrapped Twinkies and placed it on the table in front of me. With his foot, he slid a box up to the table, sat down, and bit the end off of one of them.
I don't trust those guys who run those places,
he said with his mouth full.
They've got keys to everything. Besides, I want my stuff where I can get it when I need it.
I picked up the other Twinkie. It was covered in chocolate, like a Hostess cupcake. I bit into it. "These are really good. What are they called?"
Chocodiles. Not every place carries them.
As I ate, I studied the columns of boxes that surrounded me. Out loud, I read the neatly printed manifest on a box to my left. Contents: 2 300-watt computer power supplies broken, 1 computer case with 486 motherboard, 12-pin serial cables, and a catcher's mitt. "Why do you need this stuff? What are you going to do with it?" He stared at the far wall as he slowly chewed.
You never know,
he said.
I might need a part.
Look, I'll help you move it. We can use my car. He sprang up and said,
I need some milk.
then darted back into the kitchen. I knew I wouldn't be getting anywhere with him. Every time I tried to speak to him about improving his life, he did the same thing, refused to talk about it. I knew he wouldn't leave the kitchen until he thought I'd forgotten about it. I pulled out my phone and checked my email. There was a message from someone I didn't know. Ken Wakeman? From Ken Wakeman, kwakeman3@gmail.com. Title, Recent Truro UFO Report. Hello, Melissa. I saw your recent report on the Truro UFO sighting in the Cape Cod News. I'm an independent researcher of UFO phenomenon living on the Cape. Do you have any more information on the sighting that you can disclose? Also, I loved your report called The Grass is Always Greener on the marijuana sales. In the future, I'll know where to find some hooch on Cape Cod. He loved my report. Yeah, right. An independent UFO researcher? Well, maybe I could find out something that might help Brian. Something was out there, something outside of the ordinary. I replied. From Melissa Howard, callmemel@gmail.com. Title, regarding recent Truro UFO report. Ken, hooch should really do well on the Cape. There's not much to tell on the report, but feel free to come down to the office anytime after 3 p.m. on Friday. I'll give you what I have. Brian stopped what he was doing and said,
You know the Barnstable County Fair is happening this week.
I laughed and said, You still want to go on the zipper? The Barnstable County Fair is the biggest thing that happens on the Cape in July. It's a classic fair with rides, animals, and games. Our parents took us there when we were kids. When Brian was 10, he insisted on going on the zipper ride, an evil-looking piece of machinery that throws the riders in all directions. He puked his guts out while we were on it, and they had to stop the ride. We teased them about it well into adulthood.
Can you go with me?
That is one of his things. He hates going out in public and will only go to places if someone he trusts goes with him. Most of the time, that's me. That's okay. But something as chaotic as a fair presents an extra challenge. There was a good chance he'd go there and he'd freak out after 15 minutes. I could picture the whole thing. On the other hand, I like to encourage anything that resembles normal life and gets him out of that cottage. I said, Let me see what my schedule looks like.
How about Saturday then?
I said I would need to check my schedule. Brian looked at me, grinned, and said,
We could get fried dough, and I bet they even have fried Oreos.
Sneaky bastard. He knew I loved those things. Whoever invented them was evil. An Oreo is dunked in batter, then dropped into a fry later. Out comes a lethal nugget of yummy. You can only get them at carnivals and fairs. I said, You realize Saturday is the busiest day, right? There'll be people all over the place.
So
I have to check my schedule. I lied. We were going. I just didn't want to make it easy for him.